Welcome to this deep dive. And, if you're new here, this is where we take a stack of sources like articles, research papers, or a brilliant book, and we just extract the most important nuggets of knowledge.
Yeah, it's all about giving you shortcut to being well informed.
Exactly. So today, our mission is to uncover the hidden prehistoric biological drives that dictate why you buy what you buy.
Right, which is a fascinating topic. We're pulling heavily today from evolutionary psychologist Jeffrey Miller's book, Spent: Sex, Evolution, and Consumer Behavior.
Yeah, and we're basically going to explore how your shopping cart or, your driveway is actually a window into your deepest evolutionary instincts.
It really is. It reveals a lot more than you'd think.
Right. So to kick us off, I actually want you to imagine something. Imagine you are the most intelligent primate on the planet.
Okay, pretty good starting point.
Yeah, you have the capacity for abstract thought, complex language, advanced tool making. And how do you decide to use those immense cognitive gifts?
I feel like I know where this is going.
You drop $139,771 on a Hummer H1 Alpha.
Naturally.
Right. A vehicle that gets like 10 miles to the gallon requires 51 feet just to pull a U-turn and is practically impossible to park in any standard spot.
It is a phenomenal starting point because it completely defies all practical logic.
I mean, completely.
Yeah, if you look at it purely as a mode of transportation, it's objectively terrible, it's loud, it's uncomfortable, and it's wildly inefficient.
Right. If your goal is simply moving from point A to point B, you just buy a reliable sedan. But nobody drops six figures on a Hummer for the aerodynamics. So what is the actual draw there?
Well, the answer isn't found in automotive engineering. It's found in evolutionary biology.
Okay, how so?
To understand the brain of the person writing that check for the Hummer, we have to look past the modern dealership and travel back roughly 30,000 years.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, because you have to remember that the human brain didn't evolve in a shopping mall or a car lot or even a city. It evolved in these small, tight-knit hunter-gatherer clans where everyone knew absolutely everything about everyone else.
Right, the environment of evolutionary adaptation.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And to wrap our heads around modern consumerist capitalism, Miller proposes this really brilliant thought experiment in the book.
I love this part.
Yeah. So imagine taking a time machine back to prehistoric France.
Hmm.
You step out, maybe flash a few laser pointers to get the attention of a group of Cro-Magnons. Let's call them Gerard and Giselle.
Okay, Gerard and Giselle, got it.
Right, and you try to pitch them on our modern economy.
Okay, so I'm standing there in a cave trying to explain the miracles of modern life. I'm telling Gerard and Giselle about, colonic irrigation, sub-zero refrigerators, and expensive sneakers with little swooshes on the side.
And you'd find they're completely unimpressed by your pitch.
Not sneakerheads, I'm guessing.
Not at all. They don't care about the swoosh.
Hmm.
They look at this concept of money, and they just want to know if it could buy them things that actually matter in their world. Things that guarantee survival and reproductive success.
Makes sense.
Right. So Gerard wants to know if he can purchase extra fertile mates, or maybe like another 100 years of youth. Or, failing that, an auto-assault shotgun to permanently deal with his rival, Serge, who just keeps looking at his territory.
And I have to break the bad news, like, no, Gerard, you can't buy an extra century of life, but we do have some fantastic self-help books and premium protein powder.
Exactly. Which leads to the real kicker.
Yeah.
Because then you have to explain the catch to Giselle, the Cro-Magnon matriarch.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. You tell her that in order to acquire these swoosh shoes and stainless steel refrigerators, she has to spend the first 16 years of her life sitting perfectly still in a classroom.
Right.
Then she has to spend 50 hours a week sitting in a cubicle, completely isolated from her family and friends, potentially taking medication just to stave off the suicidal despair of modern isolation.
And her response to that proposition is probably going to be, are you out of your mind?
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, when you frame it like that, it makes our modern lifestyle look like this dystopian, exhausting treadmill. Like we are literally trading our freedom for appliances.
It really does.
But this brings up a huge question for me. If a prehistoric human would look at our lives and think we're absolutely insane to make that trade, why do we do it? Our brains are wired for survival just like theirs.
Oh yeah, the hardware is the same.
So what is the actual biological payoff we think we're getting when we swipe a credit card?
Well, the payoff we think we're getting is a massive boost to our biological signaling. In evolutionary biology, there is this concept known as fitness indicators.
Okay.
The classic example is a peacock's tail. If you think about it, That tail has absolutely zero survival value. It's incredibly heavy, it makes it hard to fly, and it acts like a giant neon sign for predators.
It's essentially a massive handicap.
Exactly, it's a huge burden. But it works as a signal to the peahens. It says, look at how ridiculously healthy and robust my genetics are. I am so fit that I can survive despite lugging this giant, cumbersome target around.
Oh, wow. So they're showing off how much they can afford to waste.
Yes.
Yeah.
And humans are doing the exact same thing. But instead of growing extravagant feathers, we have figured out how to buy them. We buy Porsches, we buy designer bags, and yes, we buy Hummers.
So the Hummer is just a metal peacock tail. It's
Exactly.
just a way to signal our fitness to potential mates and allies.
That's what Miller terms the sensible model of consumerism. It basically takes our ancient, hardwired instinct to display our desirable traits, mashes it up with current social norms, adds a layer of modern technology and, a few historical accidents.
And the result is modern consumerist capitalism.
You got it.
Okay, I follow that. We have this deep urge to signal. But what fascinates me is how specific it gets. Because it feels like every time I walk into a store, the brands already know exactly what I'm trying to say about myself.
Oh, absolutely.
How does the marketplace so perfectly capture those biological signals?
Marketing functions a lot like the genie from Aladdin.
Okay, how so?
It doesn't tell us what to want. It holds a mirror up to our deepest pre-existing desires and then gives us a way to publicly manifest our private preferences.
I see.
For decades, consumer psychology leaned really heavily on Maslow's hierarchy of needs to explain this. You've probably seen the pyramid.
Sure. The basic premise is that you don't care about achieving your highest potential or buying a luxury watch if you're starving. You have to secure the base of the pyramid first, right? Food, shelter.
That's the conventional wisdom. But from an evolutionary perspective, Maslow's pyramid is actually hopelessly muddled.
Really?
Yeah, because it completely ignores what we call evolutionary trade-offs. In the natural world, animals frequently sacrifice their basic physiological needs if it serves a higher reproductive purpose.
Huh.
A great example in the sources is the male elephant seal.
Oh, this is the part where they basically starve themselves, right?
They do. During mating season, a dominant male elephant seal will drag his 4,000-pound body onto a beach and just spend months guarding his harem of females.
Wow.
He will literally starve to death, burning through his blubber, fighting off challengers, completely abandoning his base physiological need for food.
Just to make...
Why? Because ensuring his reproductive success is way more important than his own survival. Evolution doesn't care if you self-actualize. It only cares if you pass on your genes.
That completely flips Maslow upside down. The seal is choosing mating over eating.
Precisely. So rather than selling us self-actualization, the market is actually tapping into what Miller calls the central six traits.
The central six?
Yeah, these are the underlying characteristics humans actually need to signal to one another to form successful alliances and find mates. It's the famous Big Five personality trait. So openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and emotional stability.
Okay.
Plus general intelligence or IQ.
Wait, let me make sure I'm translating this to my own life correctly. Are you saying that when I go to the store and I intentionally choose the organic, fair trade, shade-grown coffee that costs like 3 times as much?
Yes, I know where you're going.
I'm not just buying a morning beverage. I'm unconsciously screaming to everyone in my kitchen, look how highly conscientious and agreeable I am.
That is exactly what is happening. The coffee is just a prop. It's a megaphone for your underlying biological virtues. You are broadcasting your personality traits through a consumer good.
Okay, well, if our purchases are just megaphones for our personalities, how does the product actually do the talking? Like, mechanically?
It happens through a mechanism that operates a lot like narcissistic personality disorder, actually.
Wow.
Consumerism fundamentally has 2 faces. The first face is showing off. This is the overt status-seeking side. Think of wearing a diamond-encrusted Rolex to a dinner party. It's entirely about external validation.
Right, making sure everyone sees it.
Exactly. But the second face is self-stimulating. This is about private pleasure and what we call solipsism.
Solipsism meaning being completely trapped in your own mental reality, right? Like ignoring the outside world.
Exactly. It's the belief that only your own mind is sure to exist, which leads to this profound self-absorption. A modern example is putting in high-end noise-canceling headphones, turning on an iPod, and just completely blocking out the rest of humanity.
I'm definitely guilty of that.
We all are. It's treating yourself to a sensory experience that isolates you. And the video game, The Sims 2, captures this narcissism
Oh, I
perfectly.
used to play that all the time.
Right, and in that game, the characters don't have natural social needs. Their well-being is dictated by filling up little on-screen meters labeled with these nebulous consumer goals like comfort, fun, and environment.
Which is such a bizarre way to model human happiness when you think about it. Like if your sim is low on comfort, you don't have them take a nap in the sun or hug a friend.
Hmm.
You literally just buy them a more expensive digital recliner to make the bar fill up faster. It trains you to equate emotional fulfillment entirely with purchasing power, while completely erasing natural, non-commercial ways of living.
It creates a closed loop where the only solution to a human problem is a consumer product. And the real world operates very similarly, which brings us to one of the most fascinating concepts in the material.
The cost density table.
Yes, the cost density table. This measures the retail price of various things per pound, and it reveals a massive insight about how we value signaling over substance.
I was blown away by this part because when you break everyday items down by weight, you realize how dramatically the math shifts the moment you move away from basic survival.
The shift is staggering. So if you look at things that are purely functional and necessary for survival, they are incredibly cheap per pound. Tap water is like a fraction of a penny per pound.
Right.
Even a highly engineered piece of machinery like a Toyota Camry only comes out to about $7 a pound.
That and dollars, okay.
But as a product becomes physically lighter and less material, as it becomes more about the pure signal it sends, the price just skyrockets.
Because you aren't paying for the atoms anymore, right? You're paying for the meaning.
Exactly. Take an iPod loaded with downloaded songs. Because the music is essentially weightless digital information, that works out to about $106,000 per pound.
Wow.
Botox injections, which are purely about signaling youth and fertility, roughly $131,000 per pound.
And the ultimate biological value, according to the table, is a human egg, which prices out at $4.5 trillion per pound.
$4.5 trillion.
It perfectly illustrates that we are paying a massive premium just for the biological signal. But this brings up a practical question for me.
Go for it.
If it's all about the visual signal, why not just cheat the system?
How do you mean?
Well, I can buy a cubic zirconia diamond for $4, right? A real mine diamond costs thousands. To the naked eye, sitting across a dinner table, they look utterly identical.
True.
If I can get the exact same fitness signal at a massive discount, why do we care so deeply about the diamond or the Rolex being real?
Because in the realm of evolutionary biology, a signal is completely useless if it's easy to fake.
Oh, interesting.
This goes back to a concept called the handicap principle, which was proposed by evolutionary biologist Ahmad Zahavi. For a signal to be trusted by a mate or an ally, it must be inherently difficult or costly to produce.
So back to the peacock.
Right. If a weak or sickly peacock tried to grow that massive tail, the metabolic cost would literally kill it. The cost itself is the guarantee of authenticity.
It creates an arms race. If an animal figures out how to fake a signal cheaply, the signal loses all its value and the species has to evolve a new, more expensive way to prove their fitness.
That's the exact mechanism at play. And humans have evolved 3 primary ways to guarantee our consumer signals so others know we aren't faking it.
Okay, what's the first one?
The first is conspicuous waste. This brings us right back to your Hummer H1. You are showing the world that you command so many resources that you can afford to literally burn massive amounts of energy without going bankrupt.
It's a flex of pure, unadulterated excess. Just look how much I can afford to waste.
Precisely. Now, the second method is conspicuous precision. Think of a high-end luxury vehicle like a Lexus, or even the design of a luxury mechanical watch. You are demonstrating an exquisite, almost obsessive attention to detail, reliability, and form.
This reminds me of when they redesigned the $20 bill.
Oh, how so?
Well, they add all that crazy microprinting, the color-shifting ink, the watermarks. It's not just to look pretty. It's to prove that the U.S. Treasury has access to incredibly complex machinery that a counterfeiter in a basement simply can't replicate.
That is a phenomenal analogy.
So buying a bespoke designer suit is like wearing a $20 bill. It proves you have access to the exclusive machinery of wealth, and it dares anyone else to try and copy it.
Exactly. You are proving the provenance and the depth of your resources. And the third method is conspicuous reputation.
What does that look like?
These are badges of status that require intense social policing to maintain their value. In the animal kingdom, you see this with the facial markings on certain paper wasps. These markings indicate dominance.
Gotcha.
If a low-status wasp tries to, fake the dominant markings, the other wasps will physically attack and punish it.
So the human equivalent is the social destruction that happens if you get caught wearing a fake Rolex to a country club.
Exactly.
The social punishment, like the loss of trust, the embarrassment, is so severe that it keeps most people from attempting the forgery.
The policing keeps the signal honest. But here's where we have to ask the ultimate question.
$1 million question.
Right. We spend our lives pouring money into these wasteful, precise, highly policed signals. But does any of this actually work? Are we successfully impressing the people we want to mate with?
Seriously, because if I'm going to spend 100 grand on a car, it better actually get me a date.
Well, the research on this is incredibly revealing. There are some fascinating studies conducted by behavioral scientists Vladas Griskevicius and Josh Tiber.
What did they do?
They wanted to see if activating a mating motive would actually change how people spent their money. So they primed male subjects by having them look at photos of attractive women, essentially waking up that ancient evolutionary drive to find a mate.
And did the guys immediately start acting like peacocks?
Instantly. When these men were primed with mating thoughts, their desire to spend money on conspicuous public luxuries just shot through the roof.
Wow.
They suddenly wanted to buy European vacations, or they expressed a desire to do highly visible, heroic volunteering.
Look at me, I'm rich and I save puppies.
Exactly. But what's equally telling is what they didn't want to buy. They showed zero increased interest in purchasing inconspicuous practical things.
Well, yeah, because nobody brings a date home and says, check out this premium generic brand of bleach I bought. Doesn't that just get you going?
No, the signal has to be public to work.
The public nature is everything.
And interestingly, the men who scored highest on measures of promiscuity were the most affected by these primes. The drive to signal was overwhelming for them.
Did they test women too?
They did. For women, the results were slightly different. Being primed with mating thoughts didn't significantly increase their desire to buy luxury cars, but it did dramatically increase their desire to engage in conspicuous charity and public acts of compassion.
So the biological drive is undeniably there. We swipe the credit card because our lizard brain genuinely believes it's going to secure us a mate or elevate our social standing.
It's hardwired.
But here's my hang-up. Is it actually a good strategy?
And then that brings us to the core thesis of the book, what Miller calls the fundamental consumerist delusion.
The delusion.
It is the
Yeah.
completely false belief that artificial products work better to display our underlying traits than our natural human behaviors do.
Wait, you're saying the Rolex and the Hummer don't actually work as well as just talking to someone?
Not even close. If you look at social psychology, specifically David Funder's accuracy model, it proves that humans are incredibly sophisticated at reading each other.
Oh,
We didn't evolve to read price tags. We evolved to read people. When we interact with someone, even for just a few minutes of unstructured conversation, our brains are processing thousands of data points. We pick up on microexpressions, vocabulary choice, reaction times, humor, eye contact.
we are essentially walking highly calibrated lie detectors for human personality.
We are. Within 3 minutes of chatting at a party, you can accurately assess someone's big 5 personality traits and get a very good read on their general intelligence.
Wow, just 3 minutes.
The Rolex adds almost zero new, reliable information to that assessment. But advertisers intentionally obscure this reality because it threatens their entire trillion-dollar business model.
They need us to feel insecure without the prop.
Exactly. The sources point out a great example with cosmetics. Think about a L'Oreal lipstick ad. The commercial will boast about microcrystal technology and use all this pseudoscientific jargon to sell the tube of lipstick. They do this because if the ad just stated the raw biological truth like, applying this red pigment will make your lips look flush, mimicking arousal, thereby making you appear more fertile than your neighbor, it would shatter the delusion.
It would just sound creepy.
Right? It would expose the whole charade for what it is.
It really exposes the sheer mathematical absurdity of this entire consumer model. Let's break it down. Say a guy goes to a car dealership. He needs transportation.
Okay.
He could buy a perfectly good, reliable Chevrolet Malibu for $20,000. But driven by this biological urge to show off his fitness, he pays a $50,000 premium to buy a $70,000 Corvette.
A classic move.
Now, if the underlying goal of that purchase is to attract a mate, he is paying an outrageous cost per encounter. I mean, if that car only gets him one extra date over the course of 5 years, he just paid $50,000 for one date.
When you put it like that.
Wouldn't it be infinitely cheaper and honestly far more effective to just buy the Malibu, go to a dinner party, and let his natural intelligence, kindness, and sense of humor do the heavy lifting?
Mathematically and logically. Yes, it's highly irrational. But consumerist capitalism thrives precisely by making us forget our natural adaptations.
It makes us doubt ourselves.
It systematically makes us insecure about our naked biological traits. It convinces us that without the stage props, the luxury car, the designer watch, the tailored clothes, we are practically invisible.
Yeah.
And because we are deeply uncomfortable admitting to ourselves that we are just biological organisms desperately signaling for mates, we eagerly buy into the marketing euphemisms.
We give ourselves cover stories.
Exactly. We tell ourselves we bought the Corvette for the engineering or the handling or the resale value.
It's plausible deniability. We lie to ourselves so we can keep playing the game without feeling superficial.
That's it. If we synthesize this whole journey we've been on today, the reality you have to confront is this. You are a social primate. You come pre-installed with millions of years of highly refined evolutionary software that was perfectly designed to help you survive, make friends, and find mates through natural interaction.
The Cro-Magnon hardware.
Yes, but you are currently navigating a modern semiotic world, a world built entirely on symbols, brands, and artificial signs.
Hmm.
And those brands are spending billions of dollars desperately trying to monetize your innate biological urge to connect and impress.
So, to put it simply, we are walking around with Cro-Magnon hardware, trying to run modern capitalist software, and hoping we can just buy our way to biological success. It really puts that $139,000 Hummer into perspective.
It does. When you strip away the marketing, it's just a 7,000-pound metal peacock tail.
Which leaves you, the listener, with a challenge for the next time you find yourself reaching for your wallet. The next time you are about to drop serious money on a premium brand, take a pause.
Just a quick second to think.
Ask yourself, what specific personality trait are you actually trying to broadcast to the world with this item? Are you trying to scream that you are agreeable, highly conscientious, exceptionally intelligent?
Yeah.
And then ask yourself the really dangerous question. What would happen if you skipped the purchase entirely? What if you just relied on your evolutionary birthright, your natural humor, your genuine kindness, your actual intelligence to signal that trait instead?
It's a scary thought for a lot of people.
Would your social life suddenly collapse into ruins, or would you just finally be having honest conversations? After all, it's a lot easier to park a conversation than a Hummer. Thanks for diving deep with us today.